Let me say something that may sound uncomfortable, but it is becoming more true every month. AI search does not reward the person who talks about everything. It rewards the person who knows one thing deeply, clearly, and consistently. We are entering an era where being vaguely knowledgeable is not enough. In fact, vagueness is becoming a liability. The age of expertise has arrived, and if you are building a brand, creating content, or trying to stay visible online, this shift changes everything. Because AI search is not just ranking pages anymore, it is choosing answers. And when a machine is choosing answers, it does not want noise. It wants confidence. It wants clarity. It wants patterns it can trust. So, in this episode, I want to break down why AI search rewards experts, why generalists are getting filtered out, and what this means for creators, marketers, founders, and businesses trying to stay relevant in 2026. For years, traditional SEO was mostly about keywords, backlinks, page titles, and ranking position. You optimized for search engines that listed pages. Users typed a query, scanned the results, clicked a link, and then evaluated the content themselves. AI search changes that flow completely. Now, the system often reads across multiple sources, synthesizes an answer, and then presents that answer directly. That means the battle is no longer only about getting indexed, it is about being selected inside the answer layer. That is a huge difference. If your content is broad, fuzzy, or interchangeable, AI systems have less reason to trust it. But if your content is focused, specific, and repeatedly proves expertise on one subject, the system has a much easier time associating you with that topic. That is why experts are gaining visibility faster than generalists. Why experts win? Experts win in AI search because they create strong topical signals. When someone consistently talks about one subject, uses the same terminology, publishes related ideas, and builds a recognizable point of view, they become easier for machines to classify. That matters because AI systems are trying to answer questions with low risk. They prefer sources that feel precise and dependable. Think about it this way: if a user asks a very specific question, the AI does not want a broad article that covers 10 different topics at a surface level. It wants the source most likely to be correct on that exact issue. That is why depth matters more now. Not fake depth, not keyword padding, real depth. Depth means you understand the problem, the context, the edge cases, the examples, the objections, and the practical use cases. It means your content sounds like it was written by someone who has actually lived inside the topic. That is what AI systems are increasingly rewarding. Why generalists lose visibility? Generalists are not useless. That is not the point. Generalists can be great connectors, strategic thinkers, and valuable problem solvers. But in AI search, broad positioning creates a discovery problem. If your brand talks about too many unrelated topics, AI has trouble knowing what you should be known for. And if the machine cannot clearly map your expertise, it is less likely to surface you in the answer. That is the punishment generalists are facing. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack a clean signal. A lot of content today is still written like the old SEO era. It tries to cover everything, rank for everything, and be useful to everyone. But AI search prefers the opposite. It prefers clean category ownership. It prefers a strong entity around a specific problem. In other words, if you try to be the answer to everything, you may become the answer to nothing. What the 2026 data says. The current industry picture supports this shift. One 2026 report says AI search queries have become 34% longer year over year, which means users are moving away from short keyword fragments and toward full conversational questions. Another 2026 analysis says AI overviews are expanding quickly, with a growing share of queries now showing AI generated summaries above traditional results. That matters because the click now often happens after the answer is already formed. So instead of asking, how do I rank first, the real question becomes, how do I become one of the sources AI trusts enough to cite. Other 2026 search trend coverage keeps pointing to the same pattern. Topical authority, brand visibility, external mentions, trust signals, and entity recognition are becoming more important than old school keyword obsession. This is not a minor tweak. This is a structural change in how discovery works. The age of expertise. This is why I keep saying we are entering the age of expertise. The internet used to reward volume, then it rewarded optimization. Now it is rewarding credibility. And credibility is much harder to fake. AI search is making the web more selective. It is asking, who is the most reliable source on this topic? Not who published the most content. That means expertise is becoming the new visibility advantage. If you are a creator, this is actually good news because it means you do not have to outpublish everyone, you have to out clarify them. You do not need to talk about 20 topics. You need to own one category so clearly that your name becomes connected to it. That is the strategic shift. Generalists often think expansion builds authority, but in AI search, focus builds authority first. Expansion can come later. First, you have to become unmistakable. What this means for creators. If you are a YouTuber, podcaster, writer, consultant, or founder, the message is simple. Pick a lane and make your lane obvious. Start with one core problem you solve, one audience, one outcome, one repeated message. Then build content around that in a way that is consistent across your website, your LinkedIn, your YouTube channel, your podcast, and your guest appearances. The more consistent your language is, the easier it is for AI systems to connect the dots. This also means you should create more proof. Use case studies, use examples, use first hand experience, use original insights, use strong opinions backed by evidence. Because in the AI era, content that sounds generic gets ignored very quickly, and content that sounds lived in gets remembered. What businesses should do? For businesses, especially B2B brands, this is a major strategic opportunity. Instead of trying to rank for everything in your industry, identify the few topics where you can genuinely be the strongest source. Then build content clusters around those topics. Support them with expert commentary, data, customer stories, and consistent publishing. Also, do not ignore external authority. AI search does not only evaluate what you say about yourself, it also looks at what others say about you. That means brand mentions, citations, third party coverage, and trust signals matter a lot more than they used to. If your company is only visible on its own website, you are weak in an AI search world. If your company is visible across trusted sources, strong communities, and credible references, you are much easier to surface the mindset shift. Here is the mindset shift I want you to remember. Old search rewarded people who could create content at scale. AI search rewards people who can create clarity at scale. That means your job is not just to publish more. Your job is to become the clearest possible answer in your niche. And that requires discipline. It means saying no to random topics. It means resisting the urge to sound broad and impressive. It means choosing a specific point of view and repeating it until the market and the machines know exactly what you stand for. That is how expertise becomes visibility. So here is the big takeaway. AI search is not punishing generalists because generalists are worthless. It is punishing generalists because broadness creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is expensive in a system built to answer fast. Experts win because they reduce ambiguity. Experts win because they create trust. Experts win because they are easier to understand, easier to classify, and easier to cite. The age of expertise has arrived, and the people who adapt fastest will not be the loudest. They will be the clearest. If you want AI search to reward you, stop trying to be everything. Become the obvious answer to one thing